Okay, so here we are. Yep. Hello and good evening. Welcome to our third day. And today, actually, we are going to do like lot of fun stuff. Okay, so let me just mute myself so that I don't like I was just hearing myself only. So yeah, good evening and very welcome back to our third day. And today, actually, we are going to build a proper server. Like whatever we are like, जो कहानियाँ, all the stories we have heard till now, it's are going to be reality in the today's session. So I'm really excited for today's session. Yeah, just do let me know in the chat that you are excited as well, because today we are actually going to make a server. Yeah, like for the first time. And in today's server, we will be like sharing some data or HTML file. You can send anything through a server. So you will know more about how actually this network protocols and all these kind of things works as well. So before just starting that, I just need to cover two small topics, very small one. And after that, like it's going to be a lot of fun. So just let me know in the chat, like, shall we start? And also, am I visible and audible? Like, it should be a case कि मैं खुद से बात कर रहा हूँ. So in that case, yeah, just do let me know. I just don't want to speak to myself for the whole session because it happens a lot of time. I just keep talking to myself. And by the way, I just have a really great announcement for you as well. Like in tomorrow's session and also in the session that was day before tomorrow, yesterday. Yeah, it's yesterday. So in the yesterday session and as well as the session that we had day before yesterday, we actually had a competition, a quiz competition, and here I'm going to announce the winner for that quiz exam, whatever you can call it. And here are the winners. So the winner is, the first prize goes to Bhavna Soni, and the second is Abo Lee Sanjay, and the third goes to Shata. Yeah, sorry if I mispronounce your name. By the way, like the huge kudos to the Bhavna Soni, because she is going to win 500 rupees of worth or rupees of Amazon coupon. So like really congratulations to you. And we have one more winner, so you have to like just keep watching. So I will just announce the last winner, like the winner that we had yesterday at the end of the session. Yeah, and I'm also having a new announcement for you, and I'm really excited for that announcement. Like it's a really good announcement for me, and I hope that you will like that announcement as well. So like first of all, just congratulations to Bhavna to win the like 500 rupees of Amazon voucher. Just do let me know in the chat, Bhavna, if you're here, so that everyone can like congratulate you. So just do let me know. And by the way, you can just increase the number of live people. You can just call your friends, and as well you can share the stream, because from today it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, all the boring stuff we have covered like in the 2 days, and it's a great leap if you are still here. So let me just start this session. And again, if Bhavna, if you're here, just do let me know in the chat, and I'm going to announce the second winner after the session, like at the very end. Okay. So I am not visible. Okay. So why I am not visible? I think I am visible here. Okay, Suraj. Okay. Video is not clear. You can just increase the video setting. So because let me just decrease my own video setting so that it cannot like grab the. So I'm just decreasing my own video quality because I don't want to see myself there. So it will be just cleared. Yeah, just wait for a while there. So let me open my pen tool. Okay. So let's just create a new file here. So I'm just going to create a new folder. So I just have to cover two very, very small topics. Yeah. two very small topics. So let me just make this folder small topics. Okay. So I have created a folder small topics. I'm going to open my VS Code here because we are going to do our whole all code in the VS Code. It's the best text editor out there. Okay, one of the best because we don't have anything best here. And now let me just create a new file, and I'm going with the app.js name because I like this name. You can like use any name of your liking, but I just go with the app.js name. It sounds like application or something like that. So, okay, so let me open my terminal as well so that we can execute this file. So remember yesterday I told you about some of the data types, like we had data types called, by the way, we used to create variables using let, remember? So I could have create let 10. Okay, so this is how we used to create a variable. So now what is the fact here? Like number num, yeah, num is a variable which is actually storing this value 10, and it's of data type number. Why? Because it's storing a value number. Remember? Okay, and now I could basically reassign some value to it. So if I do a console.log of num here, let me just do a console.log of num here. And if I just execute this program, node.js, we are going to get the output 10 here. Yeah. But I can basically reassign this value. So num to like 9999. I can do this. And now what I'm going to get the output. So here I have created a variable with num with the value 10. And after that, I reassign the value. Okay. So I change the value of num in the next line. And the code will always execute from top to bottom. So first this line will be executed, and after that this. So in this line, basically what I have done, I have reassigned the value of num to 999. So if I just do execute the program, the output I'm going to get is 999. So let me just do that for you. So if I just do a console.log, I'm getting the output 999. But suppose if you want to create a variable for which you don't want to reassign the value, yeah, like in your program, you never want to reassign a value. Suppose in the case of a value of pi. So if I create a variable pi, so the value of pi is 3.14, something like that. So I just don't want to reassign this value pi. Yeah, it may cause some issues because the value of pi is constant. So by the way, we can do it. I can just go over here and I can just change the value to 4 point something just like this. So we are going to get like lot of errors sometimes. So instead of doing this, I can define a variable by using const. So instead of let, just use const. Now I cannot reassign the value, and if I just try to do it, like if I try to reassign the value of pi to something else, I'm going to get an error. So if I just try to execute this program, I will get an error. Yeah. And if you read the error properly, it's saying that assignment to a constant variable. So it's saying that you have created a variable called pi, and it's a of type const. So you can reassign it. Yeah. So it's a thing that I want to cover because we are going to mostly use const, mostly because it just prevents some unnecessary errors. So if I just want to make this num a constant, I will just remove this let to const. Yeah. I think just do let me know that if you got this point, and it's very easy. Yeah, video is not clear. Okay, increase my video quality. Yeah, sorry, actually video quality is not from my side. Let me just check it here. Okay, settings, audio and virtual background. So let me just go with this blur for today. Okay, so we don't have anything here. Okay, the quality is going to be like 480 for today's session. Otherwise, we are going to get a lot of blur there. Yeah. So let me just stop my camera for a while. Maybe it is causing some issue. Yeah, it's clear. Yeah, got it. Yeah. Okay. Video is not clear. Yeah, Vivek, can you just increase the quality from here? If it's not increasing, just do let me know in the chat again. Just try to increase this by yourself. And if it's working, just do let me know that. Otherwise, I will try to fix it by some other means. For now, let me just start my cam because it's a protocol. I have to do it. Okay. Okay. So just do let me know that if you got this point. Okay. Okay, that's great. If you got, yeah. Okay, that's great. That's great. Let's move to the next part. So remember, I told you yesterday that we have one more special data type. So suppose you want to store a like an array or a like bunch of data in a single variable. In that case, we have array. So I could just like create an array. So just to create an array, just type like const or let. You could use const or let, anything. And after that, we use this square brackets. And inside this square bracket, you can put anything. I could put name, okay, comma, 44, comma, true. You can do anything. And if I just do a console.log, if I just want to access these three data together, I can just do console.log of num, and we call this array. Okay, it's very easy. Most of the programming language have it. So it's the array. And if you just want to access any one of the variable, you don't want to like any one of the value, you don't want to access all of these things. So everything inside of an array have a specific unique index. An index starts from 0. So the first thing is gonna have the index 0, then after that 1, and after that 2. So if you just want to access this 44 only, so just in this num, yeah, just after the name of this array, so after the name of the array, just put this square bracket, and inside this square bracket, just put the index number. So suppose you want to access the 44. What is the index of 44? 1. So just type 1 here, and if I just do a console.log of like if I just execute this program, I'm just getting 44 here. So it is array, and we can perform a lot of operations on the array, like adding some more elements to the array, removing some of the elements from the array, that we are going to do throughout this session a lot. Okay, and we have one more way to store multiple data. Yeah, so it was an array, so let me rename it to array. Like suppose if you want to make an object, and what is this object is? So object is a special type of data type where you can store multiple variables with multiple values. So let me just show it to you. To create an object, so let me just create an object first, and it's going to be very easy to understand. So to create an object, just type const or let, anything you can go with. Here also you can just go with let or const, but just to prevent any kind of future type errors, I'm just going to go with the const. Yeah, and if we just want to like reassign the value, I will just change it to let. Okay, and to create an object, just type const or let, and name of the object, its name, like it's the name of an variable, you can name it anything. For now I'm just going to name it obj. Okay, and equals to, and instead of these square brackets, just put these curly brackets. Yeah, these curly brackets, and that's all. And after that, you can basically have some more values inside of it. So if you want to, if I just want to store a value name here, so I will just type name and colon, yeah, colon, and after that the value that name is gonna have. So like let's just go with the John. Okay, and after that, if you want to store some more values, so just put a comma, press enter, age, yeah, colon, and it could be a number, so 32. Like if you want to store some more data about it, so job equals to web developer. Okay, and if I just console log it, console.log obj, okay, console.log obj, and if I do a console.log of obj, and if I just execute my program, I'm getting all the values that this obj had. Like name is John, age is 32, job is web developer, anything. And if you just want to access one of the property, so these things are called, okay, these things are called the property of an object. Yeah, these are the property of an object. So this is the object obj, and obj object have three properties: name, age, and job. The value in the name property is John. The value in the name age property is 32. The value in the job property is the web developer. Okay, and if you just want to access all the properties together, just type object. Yeah, just do object here, and you will get all the properties together. And if you just want to access any one of them, okay, so just after the name of object, put dot, yeah, dot, and after the name of the property, and the name of the property, suppose we just want to have the name. Okay, so the name here, so what we will get in the output, John only. So if I just execute my program, I'm getting John here. If you just want to access the age, just type object dot age, and if I just save it, and if I execute my program again, I'm going to get 32 here. Okay, so this is all about objects. So if you just want to store multiple values together in a single variable, we have two ways. We have array, and then we have object. In the case of array, we basically have like square brackets, and we just store multiple values with the separated by comma. And if you just want to access all the values together, just do console.log, or the just use array. Okay, this name of this array. So in this case, it's ARR. Okay, ARR is the name of the array. And if you just want to have access to a specific element, just one element, so each element have index, and this starts from 0, so it's going to be 0, 1 and 2. And if you just want to access like 44, just do ARR square brackets and the index of the element that you want to access. It's going to be 1 in this case. And in the case of object, we use square brackets, and in the case of objects, we have properties. So every object has some properties. So properties have a key, so this is called key, and this is the value. Key and value, key and value, key and value. So this object have key value pair of name colon John. So if you just want to access all the properties that are presented in an object, just type okay object. And if you just want to access any one of the property, what you have to do, just type name of the object. In this case, it's obj dot and the name of the key that you want to access. The key that we want to access is age. So we will get what in the output? 32. Yeah. And separate all of these properties by comma. Okay, that's great. Just do let me know in the chat if it's clear to you, so that we can move to the next part. Okay. Okay. Okay, just do let me know. Yeah. So let me just go through some of the chat so that I can answer some of your doubts. Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay. What is the type of ARR? So in this case of ARR is a array. Okay. So this ARR is the data type of this ARR is array. Okay. Array. ARRY. So let me put a comment here. So slash slash. And what is this comment? So comment is a part of code which will be ignored. So what is the use case of comment? If you just want to let some your fellow developer know that what is you have written in your code. So we basically use these comments. So this basically is going to be ignored. Okay. So if I just make a comment, to make a comment, just put slash slash, yeah, forward slash. And after that, if you type anything here, okay, anything, it's going to be ignored. Yeah, it doesn't work actually. So it's just going to be ignored. So it's for just our convenience, so that we can actually explain our code very easily. Yeah. So it's an array and it's a object. Okay. And the second one is an object, obj. And by the way, I have some special extension in my VS Code so that I can color my comments. So I'm just putting some color so that it's easier for you to understand. Again, it's though both the things are comments, and I'm just putting some colors here. And if you also want to put some comments, go to the extension part of your VS Code and just type better comments here, better comments. Yeah, and just press enter. And this is the extension that I'm using to color my comments. And you have thousands of extensions here, literally you have thousands of extensions here to use. Okay, that's great. What is const and what is let? Yeah, VS Raghavan, I have covered that part. Okay, in the initial thing. Yeah. So tech bar says node is not recognized as the internal extend command batch file. It's showing it. Yeah, I'm going to fix your error. Yeah, don't worry, tech. I'm going to fix your error. In the console, it's showing object as the data type of an array. So yeah, it's going to show an data type of an array this thing as an object, because it's going to be a little bit advanced for you, but I will cover that for you. Yeah, just a quick I'm just going to give a quick glance to you. Okay. Okay, so why it's showing, if you just try to type, if you just want to know the type of this array, it's going to show you object. Why? Because in JavaScript everything is an object. Okay. So it's you won't be able to understand this term now because it's a little bit advanced, but for now just trust me, in JavaScript everything is an object. Even function is an object. Okay, not function, by the way. Every data type, all the string, number, everything is an object. So if you just do a type of what is the type of this ARR, so in that case you will get a type object. Yeah, if you just want to know what is the, if this thing is an array or not, we have something called array.isArray. So in that case, so if you are getting what is the data type of this thing, you will be getting object, because in JavaScript everything is an object. It's too complicated for me to advance to you here, explain it to you here, but I will try my best if I could cover this part as well in this session. Okay, and for the guy who was having the error, Node.js is not recognized as the internal command. So let me just go through that error. Yeah, so here's the person who was getting this error. Node is not recognized as the internal command. Is to fix that error. So first of all, just install the Node.js. Yeah, so it's going to be very easy. Just download Node.js. First step. I'm just trying to fix the error of that guy. And if any one of you also facing that error, I will fix that as well for you. Just download the Windows version. Okay, so if you download the Windows version, and if I just open my, okay, so if you just install it, okay, let me just close it. Okay, if you just install your this what we say, Node.js, what you want to do, okay, after that, what you want to do, you can Google it as well. If you're just forgetting the all the steps I'm telling you, so you can just Google it, setting up a Node.js set up environment, yeah, environment. Windows. Yeah, it's an error for the Windows only machine. Okay, so you can just Google Node.js environment setup in Windows, and I will also let you know how to do it. Just type, open the open a search and type system variables, environment variables, and you will get this edit the system variables. Press here. Okay, click over here, and after that you will get this thing environment variables. Click on it, and in this thing you will have two parts. So I will prefer you to go in the second part. Yeah, in the second part, and click on the new. Okay, click on the new. Okay, let me just don't click on the new. You have to look for the path here. So you will find this thing path. Okay, this thing path here. You have to basically scroll it. Okay, and you will get path here, and click over it, and this thing will be opened for you. Okay, this thing will be opened for you, and here just type type new. Okay, new, and you will get this thing. And what you have to paste here, c slash program file slash node.js. Okay, and just and actually what I'm pasting here, I'm actually pasting here the path where node.js was installed. So how you will know that where node.js installed? So when you will install the node.js, basically you will get where is node.js is getting installed, and you just have to paste that part there in the environment with. Let me just give you the quick recap. Just type environment variables. Okay, so edit system environment variables, press click here, go to the environment variables, look for the path in the second part, and here we got the path. Click on the new and just paste the path where your node.js is installed. So how will you get the path? Just open your installer, and it will let you know where is your installation path. Okay, okay, let's just get started. It may take a little bit of time to get start. Okay, next, and this is the path. Okay, so copy this thing. Mostly it's c slash program file slash node.js mostly. So you can just paste it and your code will work properly. And what are these environment variables actually is? So basically, so that you can access any program from anywhere. So that's why we use that thing. And if you are still, if you just forgot all the step, just Google environment setup for Node.js. Okay, in Windows. So it's Windows specific error, by the way. You won't get this error in the Linux or in the Mac. Okay, that's great. Okay. How can we display data from the server or DB? Yeah, Suraj, we are going to do that. Yeah. Path is same for all. Yeah. Path may be different for some people, but in the most cases, it's same. Okay. How can I add 3, 4, 5, 7? These number as 3, 4, 5, 7. Okay. So if it is in the case of string, basically you can split it. So I'm just going to try to answer of this Vebhanshu. Okay, so basically string is also an array. So if I just create str3457, okay, so like I'm just doing it for you, you can just do is str dot for each. Okay, so it's the code basically that you can do actually in here. And now we can basically add. So this is little bit advanced for you. I will for sure I will cover this part at the very end, because we have like less time and I have to cover a lot of things for you. Okay, so now we have object and then we have arrays. Okay, that's great. Now let's move to the next stuff. Okay, the next stuff. Now the fun stuff is starting. First of all, all the code that we are doing in a single file, isn't it? We are doing our all the code in the single file. And suppose if you want to create, like if you just don't want to do all of your application coding in a single file, what we can do, we can create another file. So let me just create another file, and you can name this file anything. I'm just going to name this file second.js. Okay. And in this second.js, what I want to do, I just want to create a variable. Okay. Const a equals to 10. Okay. A equals to 10. Okay. So basically, we won't be doing this in our program, but it's very important to know this thing so that I will be explaining, like it will be easy for you to understand some of the module concept. So let me just go over here in our app.js, and let me just do console.log of a. Okay. And if I just try to execute the program by typing node app.js, I'm just going to an error. I'm getting an error that a is not defined. Okay. Yeah, a is not defined in this file, and we are trying to run this file. We have defined the variable this a in the in a separate file. So if you want to access a variable or a function or an object or array of anything from a different file, what we have to do here? So for now, just like remember everything, just do const, okay, const and a equals to require, and in this file, in this require function, just type the name of the another file. So what I'm doing, require and the name of the second file. Okay. Okay, second. Now let us see if it's working. Okay. So if I just try, I'm just getting blank object here. Okay. I'm just getting this blank object here. What is this thing? The value of a here. Okay. The value of a here is 10. Why we are getting this object? Because if you want to access anything from another file, that another file must also allow you to access that variable, and it's very easy to do. Just type module.exports, okay, equals to the variable that you want to make another file to be used. Okay. So here I'm making the variable a, so that any file can just require it. And now if I just save it and I will just try to execute this same program again, I'm getting 10 here. Okay. So by this way, basically what you can do, you can basically create separate files, and you will be able to like share the data between those files. And we are not going to do it actually. Why I told you this thing? So I'm just telling you this because we can actually do this. Okay. And why I'm just telling you that while developing any program, you don't do everything from the very scratch. Okay. If you just start doing everything from very scratch, you will take eternity to create a very small application. So how actually we do coding? In that case, some of the developers like you and me and some more developers, what they actually do, they write some codes. They write some functions for us. So, and what are functions? Function also are just some small code. Okay. So let me just create a function here. So function, okay, the function a. Okay. So here I'm just creating a function a, console.log hello a. Okay. And I'm just exporting this from it. And let me just require this thing, and I can now use the a function from some another file. And if I just try to execute the program, I'm getting hello a. So now by this, actually we are not going to do this modular export actually, but why I'm telling you this, because some of the developers have actually written a huge list of functions for us. And what we are going to do, we are going to use those functions in our program, so we don't have to write everything from the very scratch. And don't get misunderstood by that we are not going to do any programming. Actually, we are going to do a lot of stuff, but all the basic things that are basically not required for us to do, we are just going to use the some another functions from some another developers. And those functions are like, all those developers are very reputed programmers, and they're actually working in the top level industry, like whatever you can call it. So we are going to do that. And this is how actually software development actually works. We don't write everything from the scratch. Like React is also a library. Yeah. If you have heard about React or jQuery or any library like Axios, anything, we have like billions of libraries here. So let me just close this file for you. And if you didn't get that modular export or something, no worries, we are not going to do that. Okay. Okay. So let me delete this file. Let me just go to the chat so that I can see that if we are having any doubts or not. Okay. The quick result. Okay, that's great. Yes, mandatory. like we have done the React, Naveen Patel. Yeah, Sanjay, modular export is always mandatory. Yeah, Naveen, modular export is always mandatory if you want to share something from the variable. By the way, Naveen, don't get into that modular export stuff because we are not actually going to use it. Yeah, we are not going to actually use it. Yeah, Hardik, we are going to do it right now. Yeah, in our next slide, we are going to do it. Okay, that's great. Okay, let me just start my video again. So let's just start our creating our server. Before that, let me just explain you one more thing. Whenever we create an application, so we are going to use third-party packages and all. We are going to like manage our code and lot of stuff. So we don't always start just typing app.js and we don't just start typing our code. What we actually do, so let me just delete this file as well. Just open your terminal in that folder where you want to create your program. Yeah. So we have some, let me just create a new folder here. Okay. So let's just start from very scratch. Okay. So let me just create a new folder and let's just name it server. Okay. Server. So I'm creating a new folder, naming it server. You can name it anything. Yes. It's like, it's self-understood that you can name anything. Okay. And let me open my VS Code here. Okay. Now just open your terminal and type a command. So, and I'm just going to explain you what this command is actually doing for you. Okay. Let it just open. Let it. Okay. Okay. The command that you want to type is called npm. Okay. In it. So INIT. Okay. Hyphen y. Okay. You can basically just type npm in it and press enter. Okay, and wait for 1 second only. Okay, sometimes 5 seconds or so. Okay, and it then after that it will ask you some questions like the program that you are making, what is the name of that program? So the name of our program is going to be server. Press enter. Okay, server. Okay, what is the version of your program? It's the first version because we are just starting, so the first version. Any description? It's our first server. Yeah, server, and press enter. Entry point, just enter. So just do enter. Okay, and you will see you have a new file here automatically named package.json. Okay, and I'm going to explain you what actually we did. So we have used a program called npm here. So it's a program like node npm. It will basically help us to create application like setting up some small things, setting up the name of our files and all, everything like that. So we are not actually going to do a lot of work with this npm, but the only thing that you want to know, just type npm space init in it and press enter. That's all. Okay, and after that you can create a new file here, app.js, and press enter. Now we are going to make our first server. Okay, and by the way, for that npm part, just type npm init, and we are going to come back to this file after some time. Just give me 5 more minutes and we are going to come back to this file. For now, just type npm init and press enter, and just press enter. And if you just want to answer some questions like name or the version, you can like enter it, but most of the time just press enter. It will do everything for you automatically, and this file will be created for you naming package.json. Okay, and we are going to come back to this file again. Now let's just write our first program. So remember what I told you, that we are not going to write everything from the very scratch. Okay, because like accessing some of the hardware stuff. So if you want to access some hardware, some keyboard and all, so all these functions are written in the Node.js by default. Now how to use those functions through which basically we can access those like files, like keyboard, mouse, and especially the network, because to create a server we have to like access the network. So let me just write some code and I will explain it to you, and I'm pretty sure that everything will be clear to you, crystal clear, because you know all the basic of the JavaScript till now. Okay, so let me just type const here, and I'm going to require a module called http. So you can name it anything. I'm just going to type http. Okay, and require. Okay, require, and inside this bracket just type http. Okay, and press save. And what I have done here actually, So this HTTP is a file actually. HTTP is a file that we haven't created. It was actually created by the Node.js, the Node.js that we have installed. And this HTTP file actually have a list of functions that will actually enable us to create a server. Okay, so it will basically help us to access the hardware stuff, and it's very easy. And it's very easy. I know all the terms like hardware access, file, functions, yeah, but it's very easy. Trust me. Okay, so now we are going to get all the functions that are actually going to help us to create the server through this file, and all the functions are stored in this variable. Okay, so that's why basically I have this variable here. So basically we can store all the functions and all. So this HTTP is an object actually, and this object actually contains all the functions. So let me just create a function for you. So remember what I told, this is an object. So HTTP, so let me just put a comment here so that it will be easier for you to understand like what we are actually doing, and I will share you the code. HTTP is an object from the file from the file http by by the Node.js. Okay, by the Node.js, it was created by the Node.js automatically. It's a module actually. Yeah, HTTP contains all the functions that is required to access the network. Okay, let me just remove it. Access the network. So I will share you this thing, so it will be easier for you to understand afterwards. By the way, you won't actually gonna need it because sab samajh aa jayega. That's why. Now let's just use this thing. So if HTTP is an object, remember object, how we used to access anything from an object. Like suppose this object have value of age 20. So if we create an object obj, and if this object have a value age 20, so how we will access it? Obj dot age. Similarly, HTTP in object, and we want to access some of the functions inside of it, and the one function only that we require is called create server. Just type HTTP dot create server. Okay, so this is a function that was inside this HTTP module. Okay, so it's a module, it's an object that actually contains all the functions that we actually require to create a function. Okay, that's great. And now how we are going to create a function? Okay, this HTTP dot create server function actually we can pass some parameter. So this thing is a function, and remember in function we can pass some parameters. So this function actually we can pass a parameter inside of it, and we have to pass that parameter. It's necessary, and it's a function. Okay, so remember we can pass a function as a parameter to another function. In the second day of session I told you that. So let me just give you a quick recap. So if I just create my own function like create server. Okay, so I'm creating another function here, and I'm just doing console.log. Okay, creating server. Okay, and if I call this function create server, so this is the function that I have created here. Okay, let me just remove this from here. Okay, and what we can do, we can actually pass some parameters here. So let me pass 20 here, and we can basically get this thing from here. And let me just do here. Okay, and now we can use this thing. Remember we could have done this. Okay, we could have done this. Similarly, this create server function that was already created by the Node.js also accepts some parameter. And remember, we can pass a function to another function. Okay, so in this case we are going to pass a function. And what is this function? Let me just create fun, and let's just create a function. Okay, so let me just create a function, and you can name this function anything. You can name this function anything and just pass it, and you have to pass this thing here. Okay, that's great. Okay, that's great. Now this function, this abc function, can have two parameters. Yes, it's a little bit tricky, but just bear with me. So this function actually, okay, can have two parameters. One parameter is request and second parameter is response. Now everything comes down to this request and response. So I'm going to explain this thing for you. First of all, let me just create my own server completely, and then I will explain you one by line. Okay? So let me just do res dot and 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 hello from server. Okay, just bear with me. Okay, that's all. That's all. So now we have created our server. Okay, but our server is not actually running. It's not actually listening. Okay, and to make our server listen, what we have to do, this create server function actually creates a server and returns it. Okay, it's actually creates a server and returns it. Remember, if yesterday I told you that if you just create a function, okay, if you just create a function, so let me just create any function like sum, and you can pass some values to it, a and b, and it can basically return something. Return a plus b, a plus b. And if I just execute this sum, like this value 3 and by commas 67, what I can actually do, this function is going to actually return a and b plus karke. Okay, so we can store it in another variable. So let me just store in a variable called result. So that actually we did already. So that's why I just told you that just have a like focused look back, because functions are very important in the creation of like any application in the JavaScript. So that's why I just took lot of time for the functions only. So here actually a function can return something as well. So similarly, this create server function is also returning something. And what is actually returning? It's actually creating a server and returning it. So let me just store it in a variable called server. Okay. Now we have to do the last step. Just type server dot listen. Okay, and server dot listen again is a function, and just type any number from 1000 to 9099. You can type any number here. So I'm just going to with 4000 number here, and just save it. Okay, so now we have created our server. Okay, so now actually we have created our server. So I'm just going to put comments here also, and I'm just going to explain each step one by one. So let just execute this program. To execute this program, just type what have you have to type node app.js and press enter. Now one thing you can see that our program is not closing. Okay, our program is still continuing because our server is running now. Okay, so why? If I just remove this line, remember in the previous cases, if I used to do it, node app.js, it actually is closed. Okay, in the previous cases it just actually get closed. But when you just do, if you just create a server, so I have just created this server, and now if I just execute our program, so it's not actually closing because our program is running. Okay, it's actually now my computer has become a server, and it can actually listen for the request from the network. And just for the testing purpose, I'm going to just request to my own server. So that let me just open any browser here. So I can just open any browser, and to request over your own server, just type localhost. Okay, the localhost is actually your own server, and the IP address behind the localhost is, I think, 127.0.0.1. It's your own IP address, and after that just put colon here. So let me just zoom it out. Okay, just do colon here, and after the colon just type the exact number that you have written here, the exact number, and it's 3000 here, and just press enter. Okay, okay, just let me just give it a second. Local 3000, and let me just check if it's a server. Okay, so actually our server was not actually was working. So let me just execute our program once again. Node app.js. Okay, let me just close this. Okay, so we are getting hello world here. So let me just execute this thing. Okay, actually I was one more servers were running in the background. So let me just do it from again. Just run your program, node app.js. Go to your any favorite web browser. Just type 127.0.0.1 colon and 3000 and press enter. I think everything is working fine. Okay, okay, it's 4000. Sorry, it's 4000. You have to put 4000. The number that you have mentioned here, you have to put exactly same number. And this number is actually called port number. And just press 4000 and press enter. So we got hello from the server. So our first server is running perfectly fine. And now I'm going to explain one line, like in a very step. Okay. So let me just open the chat. Okay. Oh, let me just open the chat. Okay. Yeah. My text editor font is, let me just close this so that I can read the chat properly. Okay. 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 Loop back the address. Okay. Fourth. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Suraj, I just misspelled to the 4000. Constant result is 70. Yeah. It's going to be 70. Yeah. 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 70. Init meaning initialize. Yeah. Init means initializing. CLS for the clear command. Yeah. CLS, actually I'm using CLS to clear the command. So like if I just do this, so see our command is actually filling. So if I just want to clear everything from here, just type CLS and press enter. So everything will be cleared here. Okay. And just press the upper key to just go to your previous command. Just type up key and down key to go to your previous command. So the previous command that I want to execute is node app.js and press enter. Okay. Okay, that's great. So let me share my screen again. Okay. I was just stopping my screen sharing because there was infinite loop of the screen. Yeah, so like for just to prevent this infinite loop. Okay, so just do let me know that if my screen is visible. Okay, it is. Okay, okay. Let's just go over here. So now our server is working. Let me just explain all the lines one by one. Okay, and I will just put some of the comments here as well for your better understanding. Yeah, and this code is very easy to understand, by the way, and it's going to be a a thing of ease. Okay, before that I just want to cover one last concept, the one last theoretical concept. Yeah, and from tomorrow we will be actually working on our project. So you people are good enough to work on a project now. So after this thing explained, yeah, and I will also just explain little bit of database as well in the today's session. So the first line actually is, so let me just explain the first line. First of all, let me just start my video so that you can see me. Okay. So this first line. So we actually have a file called HTTP that was created by the node, and that actually contains a list of functions that we can actually use to create our server, because we don't want to write everything from the scratch. Otherwise, it would take eternity just to create a single application. And in that case, all the language, all the program, all the frameworks actually have these files, and these files are actually called modules or packages depending on the programming language that you are working on. In the case of Java, these files are called packages. In the case of Node, or in the case of JavaScript, these things are called modules. Okay. So these the files, those actually contain all the functions and all. So we actually created one module. When I just told you that you can do module data export. So I will just come back to that part once more. Okay. So here actually we have require. Okay. So we are requiring this module, and we are storing all the variables, all the functions from that module to a variable called HTTP. You can name this thing anything. Yeah. You can name this thing all the functions to create all the functions to create server. Yeah. So now this variable actually gonna contain all the functions, and the function that we are interested in is in called create server. So if this thing is an object, yeah, this thing in an object, so the function is inside this object. And how actually we access anything from an object? Just put a dot. Okay. So I just told you that you can do it. So like this is our object, all the functions to create a server dot create server. Yeah. So this is an object, so this is an object. Okay. This object actually have a function called create server, and we are actually accessing it. Okay, that's great, that's great. So let me just put it back to the HTTP because it's the standard that we actually follow. Okay. Now this create server function actually accepts one parameter. Yeah. And this function, and this parameter must be a function. It must be a function. So I created a function, and you can name this function anything. You can name this function anything. Okay, and I'm just naming this function ABC. And this function that you are passing here, okay, again have two parameters, and these parameters are called request and the response. Okay, so this request and response are actually the object, and it will happen automatically. You don't have to do anything here. Just type, follow the code structure. So this request is an object. Yeah, this request is again an object. So if I just do a console.log request, okay, request here, okay, request here, okay, so this request is an object that contains all the details about the request that our server actually received. Okay, so this function will get executed every time. Okay, so this function will get executed every time whenever our server will have an request. So I have created this application. Okay, so my laptop is now a server. Okay, so my laptop is now a server. So whenever my laptop will get any request from the internet, okay, so in the internet, this function will get executed, and all the details about the request, this is our request, we will have in this request object. So it will contain the IP address of the person who is actually requesting, and all kind of stuff, like a lot of stuff I will actually show you. Okay, so let me just show it to you. So let me just run my program. Okay, so whenever you will make any changes to your file, you have to restart the program. So here I have made a single change of this line, so I have to restart my function. So let me just go over to my browser again. Let me just make a request to my server. Okay, so as you can see, I am getting an output here, and this is our request object, and it contains every detail about the request. Okay, and most of the things are not usable by us, because we don't actually need to use all these things. So but the fact is, whenever I make a request, so this thing actually works. So let me just type and let me just console.log here, console.log, a new request received, a new request received. Let me just make a new request has been made. Okay, and you can just type request dot, and basically we have multiple, like you can just type path or anything like that. Okay, so this function, that the function that you actually passes here in the create server function from the HTTP module, will get executed every time whenever you will receive a request. So if I just go over here, and now I have made some changes to our program, so I have to restart my server. So to close a server, just press Control C. Okay, the Control C, the thing actually that you use for copy stuff. So just go to your terminal and just type Control C, and your program will terminate. And just to clear out the terminal, just type CLS and press enter. So everything will be clear out. Let me just start this thing again, node app.js, and press enter. Now our server is running, and if I just make a request, as you can see, as soon as I make a request, this output is here. Okay, so a new request is made, a new request is made, and so on and so forth. Okay, and all the details about the request we will get inside this request object. And actually we are not using it right now, but depending on the request, like what kind of request we had, what is the data that the person who is requesting us has provided to us, depending on that we will send back some data. And to send something back to the person who actually requested to us, we use this response object. So this thing is request, and this thing is response. And basically you can name this anything. Just keep in mind that the order should be request and response. And by the way, you can name this anything, like ABC and XYZ, and this ABC will actually gonna have the request details, and XYZ will have the response thing. So but just to for the better understanding, we always name this thing request and response. The order is important here. So till now, what we know, that depending on the kind of request that is made to us, yeah, we will actually like whenever a new request is made to us, this function will get executed, that we have passed inside this create server function from the HTTP module, yeah, from the Node.js. Okay, till now, great. And to send back a response, okay, to send back something to the person who requested you, just type response dot end. Okay, So we have multiple ways to send. So response and request are object, and response is an object. So response is an object that contains a function called end, and whatever you type inside this response dot end, yeah, inside this end will be sent to the person who actually requested you. So here I'm just typing hello world. You can type any data. You can send back a array. So let me just send back an array. So let's just create an array, a list of movies. So const movies. So I'm just going to create a list of movies. So let me just create list of movies. Inception. Okay. So I'm a Hollywood fan. The Matrix. The Shawshank Redemption. The Godfather. Godfather 2. Okay. The Dark Knight. And the Pulp Fiction. Okay. So we have a array, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to send it back. Okay. So whenever somebody will actually send a request to us, we will execute this function. Yeah, this function, we will execute this function, and in this function we have request and response as the parameter, and it will be sent, like put here by the default, and the request will actually have the details about the request, and the response is the object that have some list of functions that actually we use to send back the response. So it also has some more functions that we are going to use the down the line. So anything that you pass inside this end is going to be sent back to you, the person who actually requested us. So response dot end movies. Okay, that's great. Let me just open it. So now we have made some changes. So I have to actually restart my server. To close the server, just control C, and yeah, and just type node app.js and press enter. Now my server is up and running. Let's just go over to you. Just give it a refresh. Okay. Okay, just let me do one more thing. Yeah.
Guys, please wait for a while. Sir will be joining back soon.
Okay, just restart the chat. Like by mistake, I just closed the thing actually. So let me just open the. Let's just go. Okay. Okay. Let's just go to the third day. Let me just share my screen one more time. Okay, guys, I just by mistake I just closed my streaming screen directly. Okay, so actually we freezed everything. So now we are back and running. Yeah, sorry for that inconvenience. Actually, by mistake I just like stopped my streaming. So actually I closed this browser and we don't want to do it again. So actually now what I've done. So actually we have created an array and we are sending this list of an array as a list. So our server is what is actually doing. So whenever somebody will request our server, we will send back a list of all the movies. So depending on that, like what is the request, we can send a like billions of combinations of data. Okay, and that's what is in a nutshell server is. So now I'm going to give you a recap of a server, and now let me just complete the last part of this thing. Okay, so what I have done here, so this json.stringify is a function because you cannot send back a array directly. So that's why basically you have to convert an array to a string. So this json.stringify is a function. Okay, so if you want to convert any object or any array to and basically what you say to an string, just type json.stringify and the array or the object that you want to convert, because you cannot send directly the object. So that's why what I'm going here, I am just doing this. By the way, you can just set a header, so I will explain this line. Yeah, so by now our server is sending back a response as a list of all the movies. Yeah, so this thing is easy. So let me just remove this thing so that our screen real estate is saved. Yeah, थोड़ी सी screen थोड़ी सी आकी बड़ी now. And sorry for the inconvenience. By mistake I just closed the streaming window. Yeah, and it was like not fun at all. So yeah, hello. Okay, so now let me just give you a quick recap. So this is a function that will get executed every time whenever we will receive a request. The function that we pass inside the create server function, which was presented inside the HTTP module. Okay, and this HTTP module have this function create server. We pass a function, and inside this function we have two object, request and response, as a parameter. The request will have all the details about the request, like the IP address, the path, and all kind of stuff that we are going to utilize in the next part. So depending on the data that we got received in the request, we will send back the response. So like somebody is asking what is the latest movie, so depending on that we will send back that response. If somebody will ask, can you please send me the messages that I received from that person, we will send all the messages. Can you just send this message to the another function, we will do that. So depending on the situation, our server will actually respond accordingly. So this is all about like backend development. So now we have to send back a response. We have this response object in the second parameter, and in this object have a function called end, and you can just type anything. Yeah, so it should be a string only, or a number, by the way. So you can send back a string or a number, and now after that we will send back every type of data type, but for now we are sending just a string. Okay, and now what is this thing? What is this thing? Like, okay, we know that this create server function creates a function and returns a object. Yeah, returns a object. So this is an object. Okay, this is an object. Okay, this is an object, and this object contains a function called listen, and inside this listen we actually pass a number. So what is this last two line actually means? Okay, so for that I have to actually explain you the working of a server. Yeah, working. Okay, okay, so draw.io, working.raw.io. Okay, I think. Oh, so let me just create a new file here. Okay, let it just open. So I created a drawing path so that basically I can create. So what actually happens whenever you do it? So this is our server. Yeah, so again, because my drawing is not good, that's why I'm using it. So this is our server. Okay, so our server actually gets a request from any client. So you can have like a person. Okay, so this person actually makes us a request. Okay, so this is a request, request, and we actually send back a response. Okay, and we actually send back a response. Okay, now what was that number actually? And what, okay, if you just want to make a request to my server, you must know the IP address. Okay, you must know the IP address. Okay, the IP address of my server. Okay, my computer. And on that case only you can basically access my computer. So we were accessing our own computer, and the IP address that we were using 127.0.0.1. It's your own IP address. Yeah, and you can check your public IP address. Just type what is my IP address in the Google, and you will get. Okay. Yeah, Naman, we are going to make an API right now. Yeah, Naman, we are going to Naveen. Basically, we are going to get the data from the database. So don't worry about that. Let me just explain this part, because we have all spectrum of people here, from the very basic to the person who know little bit of JavaScript, and also some of the person who know little bit of Node.js as well. So that's why I'm trying to cover all the spectrum. Yeah, that's great. And if you want to access my server, you must know my IP address, and by my IP address you can access my computer. Okay, so in my computer, like many of the applications are running. So this is my laptop, this VS Code is running. Okay, this Chrome is running, this File Explorer is running. Okay, so if a person makes a request to my IP address, now it should also mention the app that actually we want to get response from. It's very easy for now. So every server have multiple port number, and you can execute any application on any port number. Okay, so this 4000, okay, so let me just go through it. So this 4000 is our port number, and you can choose any port number. Okay, it should just be not lesser greater than 999. Okay, and it should be of 4 digit. So you can just use any port number. So this is the port number on which my server application is running. So if you want to access my server, you have to mention the IP address colon also the port number, and the port number is 565763. So my server is actually listening on this port number. So all the requests that actually got received to my computer on this port number will be handled by my application. Okay, will be handled by my application. So in a nutshell, this is just a port number, and it should be unique, and you can actually have any port number of your liking. Okay, and here basically we can use it. So this create server function actually returns an object, and this is a server object. You can name it anything. This server object have a function called listen, and listen function actually accepts a parameter, a single parameter, and that is the port number on which our server is actually going to listen. And whenever somebody is going to make a request to our server, this function will get execute, and we will send back some response by using this response.end function. That's great till now. Okay, now one more thing. You don't have to like create a function here and you can pass it. You can do one more thing. You can directly pass a function here, and for that, like, you don't have to create a function here. For that, just copy paste this function and just paste it here directly, and just remove the name. Okay, just remove the name. Okay, so you don't have to create a function like somewhere else and then you have to pass it. You can pass a function directly, and this is called anonymous function. Anonymous function. This way is actually called anonymous function because this function does not have any name. So you can basically, what I actually have done. So just copy the function, cut the function, paste it here, and remove the name. You can always like keep the name. It's not going to be an issue, and just save it, and our server is going to run like smoothly. Okay, and this listen function also accept a second parameter, and it's a function. Okay, so I'm just going to pass a function directly here, and this function will get executed if our application is running smoothly. If you don't encounter any error, so this function will get executed. So if you just start your server by doing, okay, so let me just go through the chat here. Okay, just give me a second. Oh, sorry for the inconvenience. Actually, my screen got freeze from my side only. Okay, that's great. So just do let me know that is my screen is visible. Okay. Yeah, anonymous function need not to be async function or not. Yeah, it's not the case. How to utilize activate autofill in the VS Code? Will you teaching the JWT auth? Yeah, we'll try, but it's gonna be a little bit hard to cover it in this session. By the way, yeah, let's just go over here. So you can just directly pass a second function here. Yeah, second parameter as a function, which will actually get executed whenever actually our server is running up and smooth without any error. So let me just start our code one more time. Okay, so let me just close it everything and CLS to clear out everything. Let me just type node app.js, and we got an output. Our server is running on the port number 5763. So this function that he passed in the second parameter of the listen is actually got executed. Now if I just made a request to my own server, so let's just do it here. So for that, localhost, or you can type that 127.0.0.1, or just type localhost colon and your port number and press enter, and you got hello here. So our server is running. By the way, let me just cover the last part. So we have created our server successfully. Let me just tell you about two more things. First of all, you can mention what kind of thing you are sending back. Okay, what kind of data you are sending back. So actually when we send something, that thing have two parts. Okay, it have multiple parts, but for now it have two parts. One part is header and another part is the body. Okay, and in the header, actually, like in the HTML, you can basically set that what kind of data you are sending, what is the status code, and etc and etc. So to set a header, just type response.writeHead. Okay, just type response.writeHead. Okay, so remember what I told you, that response is an object which actually contains all the function that we will actually use to send back a proper response, a good response. So what I'm doing here, response.writeHead, so I'm adding something in the head of my response. It is the status code, and the status code is like the number. Like if the status code is 200, everything is good. If the status code is 404, so bro, whatever you are asking, I'm not going to share it with you, I don't have it. Okay, so status code is actually our way of communicating with the person who is requesting to us. So these numbers are fixed and you don't have to memorize all of them. Yeah, so status code is 200. And in the second type, in this second thing, I am actually passing an object here. Yeah, in the second parameter I'm in passing an object, and here what I'm doing, content type colon text plain HTML. Okay, so what I'm saying that, so this is the content type. Okay, so basically we have a list of content types and I'm just going to tell you all the content types, and again you don't have to memorize all of them. Two or three are more than enough. Basically we are going to use just one, but that's enough for now. And after that, what you can do, just type response.end, and this end, just type your HTML code. So as you can see, I'm typing my HTML thing here. Okay, and that's done. So if I just restart my server again, okay, and if I just make a request to my server again, so I'm getting HTML page. So this thing H1, yeah, this thing is an H1. If you're not actually believing me, I can actually add more H statement here, like H4 here, and let me just type this is H4. And don't worry, I'm just going to cover this part in the tomorrow session again. So it's just like uh, a recap for the tomorrow session. So we are actually sending an HTML file, and you can send a like bunch of response. Yeah. And the second thing, we are creating server using this HTTP module. This HTTP module, which is pre-installed to us by the node, is little bit tricky. So in that case, what we are going to do, we are going to use another package which is more popular and more user friendly. So it will help us to create some API. So what actually we are making, API. And what is this API? Application program interface and all and all. It is just like anybody can ask something and we will send something to them. Yeah, I will cover everything more in depth also. So basically you can we can install Express as well. So like I'm just giving you all the, I'm just going to share you the today's code, and we are going to learn about Express, and we will make our first API in the tomorrow session. And by the way, in the today's session we created our first server, and I'm just going to share you this code. So let me just create the repo here, and I will share you the repo in the group, or you can just go to the group. So publish on the GitHub. So Node.js essential, okay, essential day 3, okay, publish Node.js essential, okay, GitHub public repo, and I'm just going to my like GitHub repo is LoveJerry. LoveJerry is my nickname, so you can just go on the GitHub and type LUV-JARI, and you will find this repo there. And by the way, I will also just share you the code through the group. Okay, and that's all for today's session. In the tomorrow session, we will actually making our Express. Okay, okay. So yeah, so I have actually pushed the code. Okay, I think it's showing that I already have, no, okay. So I've shared the repo and I will share. So this is the repo. Let me just share it in the chat. So just go in the chat. So I have like shared it the chat here. Okay, so that's great. In the tomorrow session, we will work on Express, and I will also come back to this thing. And don't go now, because I'm just going to announce the next winner, like the winner for the yesterday's quiz. Okay, yeah, Guru will remember. Yeah, we tomorrow we will learn about Express and we will create our first API. So everything is right. Right has no right head. It's not compulsory. whenever you are sending something else than a text. So here we are sending HTML. So in that case, you have to mention that you are sending back an HTML. Yeah. So in that case, it's necessary. If you're just sending a string, it's not necessary. So if you're sending a object, so you have to type here application JSON. Okay. So depending whatever you're sending, you actually have to mention. By the way, if you're just sending a text, you don't have to mention anything. Yeah. Okay, that's great. Okay. Okay, let me just share the link again. And by the way, you will get this in the chat, in the group also. Okay, so let me just announce. I have two announcements. The first announcement is for the winner. Okay, by the way, you can connect with us on the Telegram or on the WhatsApp, and the link is go to the this link. So https luc.to/json link. Yeah, json or dot link. So I will share it to you for all the links. You can go there and you can join the Telegram. There actually we have our all the program. And for the yesterday's winner is Deepak Saini. Congratulations to you. Actually, you won 500 rupees worth of Amazon voucher. And actually, we the second winner is Nimanshu. And after that, we have Sodik. Yeah. And actually, thank you. And you won 150 LU coins and the 100 LU coins respectively. Okay, congratulations to you. And the next announcement that I want to make is, okay, so basically you can go over here. And by the way, in the tomorrow session, please to try to increase the reach, because just share the video so that more people can understand all these concepts and we can have a lot of community here. So it will be fun for me as well. And thank you for joining. By the way, the last announcement is that if you're liking what we are doing here, so it's a very, we are just scratching the surface in this essential session so that you can build some interest in these concepts, so you can get to know that if you can do this or not. By the way, the spoiler alert, you can do it. And this field is very much popular. You can grab a really good job. Yeah. Okay, so what you can do, just visit our website letsupgrade.in, and you are already signed up. I can assume that you are already signed up here, and you can just visit our courses. So we basically have two courses, the full stack web development and full stack data science. So to learn more about this full stack development, just go to the full stack development course. And we are actually starting our new batch from 28 August or 27 August, something like that. And hope you can see me in the class. In the classes, the atmosphere is completely different. We work as a team. I will be speaking with you as a friend. So I'm not actually a trainer, teacher and all. I'm a trainer, I'm a friend. So we will have a lot of fun in the session. So just click on the start learning and you can join our course here. So if you are liking what we people are doing here, so it will be great pleasure. And by the way, thank you for joining. It was great pleasure. And I hope you got a little bit knowledge from the today's session. Okay. And thank you for joining. And by the way, you will get the link in the group. Okay. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.